All right, back at it again. I made a bunch of progress off stream on a bunch of items, but since I have the day off of work, I was going to do a whole bunch more. And in particular, there's a new feature in this app that I want to build today, kind of end to end. And that is essentially, I want to build a watch list. So I want people to be able to indicate stocks that they're interested in, and then I want them to be able to, potentially get notifications about those things. But it really just gives people a one place in the app to go to, get a list of the companies and securities, stocks, whatever it is, bonds, ETFs that they're interested in. So I've mocked up kind of a basic scaffolding of what this is going to look like here. And we've got a preview up over on the right. And the idea will be is, you can search and add more stocks by tapping the icon on the right. And then you can also opt into getting notifications or not by clicking the bell icon in the left. And so I have a single preview here, and it's showing the success. And I want to kind of walk through exactly how I've been modeling a lot of my views, the state in here, and then we'll actually build out the entire backend for this and try to get it all hooked up. So, I have a pretty basic view model here. I like to model the view model based on, a state enum, which is kind of the different view states that this screen can be in. Obviously, there's going to be a loading state, right? This is going to be a network resource. We got to load stuff from our API. And then there's basically two states, right? Success and error, right? So success meaning, hey, we were able to load things, and error meaning like, something went wrong. We might need to, retry or something like that. And you'll see there's really, essentially absolutely nothing in here, right? There's going to be a load function. We'll wire this up once we build out the backend API. When someone taps on the icon, the bell icon, we want to toggle, right, that they should get notifications. And then obviously when they search for and they find a stock or a security, right, we need to be able to save that to the API and then also show it. So right here, it's a pretty basic view. We'll pop this guy open here real quick here. And it's essentially just the switch statement. It has three different kind of groups of views, or it's got one group with three different kind of view states, right? Success, error, and failure, or unloading. And I return different views for this. So this is kind of like the typical pattern that I use. And it's kind of been evolving over time. But one thing I want to show is SwiftUI previews. So this is something that's been out for a while now, but it's gotten a lot more powerful in recent years, or recent releases. And so right now you'll see we're only seeing the preview of one of the states, but I want to see the preview of the rest of the states. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we can do that, right? So let's go ahead and say I want to see what this looks like when there's a success, right? But you haven't added anything to your watch list, right? So I can go ahead and do that, and I can add another function that basically makes a view model, right, that is in that state. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to say we need our watch list view model, and we'll create a view model. And basically we need to set the state equal to success with no securities or no stocks, right? And then we can return that view model. Now we can create multiple previews by just creating another view in here. So we're going to wrap this view, and then we're going to say we're going to give it the empty view model state that we just created. And we will preview this again. And so what we should see here is basically a view that's empty that has a little button in it, right? that indicates, hey, you can add, right? So this is what it looks like when it's empty, right? So it's just kind of there's a little shortcut here that, you know, hey, you can add a security here, or you can click the find button. And then the last state is just loading. Well, loading or error, right? So in this case, right, just this empty watch list, that's going to be the loading view, right? So this is like the default state. It's going to want a view model though, so let's just give it the blank one, right? So this is like the blank state, right? So there's loading, right? So we've got success with stuff, you know, success but empty, and loading, and then finally failure. We'll go ahead and do that, and we'll need to probably make another one here. The error states, right? And we'll give this a shot. So it's basically going to be a view model, and set the state equal to be error, unable to load watch list, right? And then we can return the view model. And then we will add this here, and we will call this error, right? So now I have a little retry view, which is literally just a view with a message and a button, right? So message and then a retry button. So that's so this is all the different states. So this is what it's going to look like, and now this is what we're going to kind of fill out here, right? So a couple of things I've noticed. One is we probably don't need the bell icon until something's actually loaded. And obviously, if there is nothing loaded, right, you shouldn't see the bell icon. So let's go ahead and fix that. So we'll pop open our view here. Let's see. Right now, we show this item if notifications are enabled, but what we can do is we can if this out and basically say if well, what do we want? So basically we only want it to show up when there are actual items, right? So we can really probably use our switch statement here. So we're going to want to switch on viewModel.state. And so in the case that we succeed, right, and we don't need the securities here. In the case that we succeed, we want to return this toolbar item. Otherwise, which is default, it's just empty view. We don't want anything, right? So let's see how that turns out. Doesn't like that. Let's try and build it here. The previews are a little finicky, so. Okay, build block. All right, am I missing something? I got a colon there, a default there. We might have to make this Yeah, it doesn't like that this is dynamic. So, let's see what we can do about that. Because it wants you to return a view. So what I'm going to do is do this. We're going to make a toolbar that returns a view. And we're going to put this here. Column self. Let's see, does it like this? Let's just do this. This just wants me to return a view. Yep. Let's see, I did something similar to this in my here. Yep. Sheet, any view. Yeah, okay. Well, let's just do this, right? Let's actually put the switch statement in here because that's what we want. View model.state. And then let's just put a default here to see if we can get Swift behaving properly. Yeah, it did return in line. So like I can return this, and then I should be able to. Oh, this is an item. What is this? Is this a view? Yeah, it's a view. Oh, where content is a view. Okay. So cannot convert return expression to any view. Yeah, see, because this isn't a view, what if I just put this in a like this? Yep. Like this. Yeah, the problem is that toolbar item. Okay. Let's check. So really, we're going to return this. Returning this. Yeah, so I'm returning toolbar item. So that won't complain. Content view builder. Okay. It doesn't like this. Content. Toolbar. This can be a view builder. Now, can I Swift crashes, or Xcode crashes, I should say. Seg fault, cool. Man, did Swift really crash that hard? Okay, let's get rid of that toolbar. Let's get Swift back into a working state. All right, now at view builder. No, failure. Okay. So let's take a look. Maybe I don't remember. SwiftUI view builder. Okay. Custom parameter attribute that constructs views from closures. Oh, okay. All right. So let's do this. Toolbar. Is the specified views. All right, so switch state default, and let's put this toolbar item here. like this. And this is just the notification icon, so this should be okay. All right. So now we just have the bell icon, but we only want to show the bell icon, or we only want it to be when the case is success. Actually, only when the securities is counts greater than or equal to 1. This is the only time we actually want to see it. Here. All right. That's the only time we actually want to see it. So this wants something else to be given back. But I don't want to give anything back. So how do I give an empty toolbar view? Well, let's just give it a different one for now and see if it likes that. It's probably because we need a default. Closure containing control flow statement cannot be used with function builder. Why did this work then? Hang on. So the default worked, but this did not work. So let's leave the default there. Fix the preview. All right. Now, so, all right, let's do this case dot success securities. Let's just put that toolbar item in there. Doesn't like that, no. Okay. Does it like it when we do this? I don't think it likes that either. Okay, so we need to figure out how to do a dynamic toolbar. So we're missing something here. All right, well, we don't have to fiddle with this anymore. We can come back to this. So we're just gonna put this back the way it was. And let's actually go to the back end where we are going to save this watch list, right? So what we need to be able to do is actually save these items, right? So each user needs to be able to save a list of symbols that they can then be shown. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to jump over to the back end. And from a GraphQL perspective, we're going to be creating a mutation. And we are going to create a watch list mutation. And we're going to need our Firestore service, not necessarily our portfolio service though. We're going to need, it's going to create a watch list service. Firestore watch list service. Okay. This service. Okay, so what are we going to need to be able to do? We need to be able to add, right? So we're going to new or add symbol to watch list input. And we're going to take in the symbol for now. We might take in more later, which is why we created an input in the first place, right? So I could write the mutation, you know, and we want auth required and all that good stuff, right? So I could add the mutation here as just like, you know, add symbol to watch list. I could just add the symbol right here, but then that you essentially back yourself into a corner with your GraphQL interface. So you always want to create like an input object, right? And because it's an object, you can always add or change properties and things like that, right? Even if it's just one thing, right? So we are going to take inputs, add symbol to watch list inputs, and we also need our context, right, which is our auth context. And then we are going to return back a watch list item. And so in GraphQL, if you want the kind of query stuff to work nicely, you want to return things like this. So let's go ahead and create a watch list item, and we can just do it right here in line. Watch list item, it's going to have an ID. It's going to be the GraphQL type ID. The symbol, and then we're probably going to add quote information as well to this to return, but we're not going to do that just quite yet. So we are going to ask the watch list service to add a symbol, and it's going to need to take the symbol, and it's going to need to take the subject or the person from the token. So let's pull this up over here and do this side by side. Clean all this up. Okay, so we need a function called add symbol. Symbol is a string, and the subject is also a string, and this is going to return a watch list item. Right, it's got to have an ID and a symbol. Okay, so we are going to create this. Now we don't have a collection yet for that, so we need to create a new collection. Watch list item. Well, I'll just call it watch lists. Watch lists. So we want that collection. And then we want to save this watch list item. We want the ID to be populated by Firestore. So we want to mark this as identifier, but I don't remember what that annotation is. What annotation? Oh, it's in portfolio types. We use that. Yeah, document ID. So we're going to put that here, which hopefully Firestore isn't going to like that. So, okay, we're going to put this as the GraphQL item. And then we are going to do a separate item that actually goes into the database. So we're just going to treat this as a map coming out, which is fine. Okay, so we are then going to create a document. How do we want to do this? We want to do this similar to the way that we did a quote. Now we want to look at the portfolio service, right? So we have a collection, and then we have a document with an ID, right? So when we create a new portfolio, yeah, we do add. Okay. So we're going to add, and then we're going to create a map of, what are we going to do here? Okay. So the symbol is going to be mapped to symbol. The subject is going to be mapped to subject. And that's it, right? Yeah, we just have to say this person has that object. Yep. Okay. And then we will call get. We're going to keep this, right? We want to give it back to us. And then we're going to return a watch list item with the ID being the document.id. And the symbol is going to be this symbol, right? Okay, so this is just adding that item, but this may not be what we want to do, because when we save this, it'll return us multiple documents rather than a single document. Should we do it that way? So we could do it like where there's one document with an array in it, like tied to a subject or a user, which would return basically a single document, versus, but there's some limitations with Firestore that does that. Or we could just query these objects as they come back, right? We could say, give me all documents with the subject of a given person, which that's fine. We'll leave that way for now. So our query can just return that. Add a symbol to the watch list, right? Okay. So if we can add, we sure as heck want to be able to query. So let's do that. So we need to be able to get the symbols for a subject and return a list of watch list items. So we are going to query our watch list collection. We're going to where we're equal to subjects is equal to the subject being passed in, and we're gonna get and not get because the query interface of this is kind of stupid. And then we're going to map each of the documents, right? This is a query document snapshot. Okay, so then we're going to return a watch list item. Our ID is going to be equal to doc.get or doc.id, and this is really ID. And our symbol is going to be equal to string symbol, otherwise just empty. And we don't want to have any typos. So then we can return this, right? Now, so let's try this out. Let's try and query this and see what happens. So we'll go ahead and run this. Got our graphical query up here. We're building. Okay. Let's reload this. So now we have a mutation, new portfolio. We need to add it back to our factory. So we need to add this mutation into our factory. Fires, watch list mutation, top level object, watch list mutation. All right, now we should have that. Now again, we're not going to be able to query this yet, but we can at least create it, and then we can take a look at it in Firestore. So we'll reload this, get our new schema. Ooh, why isn't this showing up? Remove positioning portfolio. Let's check our mutation. Add symbol to watch list item. Suspend. New portfolio, new position, new portfolio, remove position. Where's our lovely mutation? Okay, singleton watchlist mutation. It's in the factory. Oh, it's not in the mutations list. That would be why. Ooh, I hate that formatting. What the heck did I do to my formatting? All right, well, we'll look at that later. Okay. I did something to my formatting. So while that's building and running, we need to fix our Kotlin code style. What did I do? No, we don't want new lines after that. That's what happened. Right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, that looks better. All right, now we should have our mutation. Yep, add symbol to watch list. So we are going to add mutation, add symbol to watch list, input, symbol. We're going to add good old Apple to our watch list. And then we're going to get back the ID and the symbol. I'm going to run that. Okay, so that's our ID. And let me go ahead and just check that our document is in Firestore. Firestore, we got a watch list document. Yep. And then we have our collection. Okay, so our item's there. So that's good. So now let's hook up our query. Actually, let's add a couple more. Let's add Tesla. And let's add Google. Or no, let's add Iron Mountain. All right, let me take a look at this. So yeah, we got a bunch more here. All right, now let's check our queries. We're getting a lot of queries, but that's okay. All right, so now we're going to say watch list query private watch list service copy this, get the user's watch list, the list of watch list items, and watch list service dot get symbols, right? That should do it. We're going to pull this over by where the query is. It makes more sense to be here. Okay, so let's run this, and now we should be able to query for those same watch lists. But I have to add the query to the factory. Watch list query. Yep, there we go. Yeah, that should do the trick. Okay, reload. And we now should see under query watch lists. Okay, so now rather than mutation, we can ask for the watch list. We can get the ID and the symbol for all of them. Yes, okay, so those are our 3 items. Now the watch list itself doesn't have an ID. which in GraphQL may mess with the caching a little bit. But that is okay for now. We'll deal with that later. All right, so now this is working. So now we should be able to wire this up to here, to our view model. So we're going to pop this open here, and we're going to create the queries that we need and generate what we need. So first, let's do, we need an empty file, and we're going to say get watchlist.graphql. Actually, and this shouldn't be in here because it's just a file. Query get watchlist, and basically we're going to say, it's basically just going to be this query, right? All right, now I need to go to my main and undo this so that it regenerates things. It's pointed at my local host or build, and we should get this query now available to us. All right, looks like we succeeded. So now on our watch list, when we want to load, we can do the following. We want to say that the state is equal to loading, and then we're going to grab our network client, Apollo. We're going to say fetch. We're going to say get watch list, right? We're going to set the cache policy to be fetch ignoring return cache data and then fetch, right? And then we're going to say weak self reference result in. All right. Now, what I like to do is get so what I like to do, again, this is just like copied and pasted all over the place, like the same pattern. So I'm just going to grab this, my result from another one, make this a little smaller. Okay, so if our results, and we'll get rid of all this, and we'll fill back in. So the result.data. If there is a watch list, right, we then need to set the state equal to .success, and then we need to convert the watch list. In this case, we have it set as a list of securities, but now we can add a watch list item. So let's do that. Quotes. So this is going to be closely related to a quote because in the future it's actually going to have that on there. So let's call this going to be equatable. It's going to have a string, and it's going to have a symbol, right? I then typically like to do a converter with an extension element equals get watchlist query dot data dot watchlist, right? To watchlist, and this will return an array of watchlist items, right? So we will return self.map. W, so we're going to return a watch list item where the ID w.id and should be w.symbol. This should be pretty straightforward. is this? ID and symbol. Yeah, that should be fine. That's just a string. What's it complaining about? Placeholder. Oh, okay. All right, so then in here you can do data.toWatchlist. And then this is, instead of security, is now list the watch list items, and we're gonna have to fix that up. So this is to watch list. This is also this is just gonna be a symbol now, a string, and we're gonna have to fix that as well. If there's nothing in it, that means there's an dot state equals dot error, unable to retrieve watch list, and the same here, right? Okay. Now, one thing that we don't have is the company name, which we should be adding that. So our watch list item, actually we'll add that when we add the quote in. So we're gonna leave that for now. So our subtitle here is going to be nothing until we add the quote in, because with the quote comes the actual company name. So we'll put this here. This is going to be items. This can be symbol or ID. So we'll make it ID because that's more. That makes a little more sense. Items. Okay. What else do we got? Security.symbol, right? What else are you complaining about? Yeah. Okay. So we have this dummy helper method. Let's also do this for the watch list item. So let's do default watch list item. Watch list item ID. That can just be the symbol. And for now, that's just that. And then we can use this items to make it all line up. Okay. Should be everything. Default watch list item is probably returning the wrong thing. Yep. Yep. Right there. Why can't you? Okay. What? Why? Why don't you like this? Watch list quote returns a list of items. Map this. I thought I just removed that, didn't I? sometimes Xcode gets confused and you just have to rebuild, but this should friggin' work. This should be fine. No. Wait a minute. Yeah, this is an array. So I want to map item, return. So item, this is a watchlist item, right? Yeah. Dot, yep, okay. So we're gonna return a watchlist item. ID is gonna be item.id and item.symbol, which was the same thing that I had, I think. Yeah, I don't know, okay. All right, so if we rebuild our thing here, the only thing we should be missing is the company name, and that's okay. We're gonna fix that later. But our preview should be working, and we should be getting data from the network when we rerun it. The other thing that we can add, we need to turn. So we can also do this one. Oh, we didn't add a query for this. So we did not add a query for this. Okay. Actually, let's go ahead and push this up so that our server gets the new information. Yep, this is fine. Go ahead and push. All right, so in the background here, this is going to deploy to Google Cloud Run. Probably do a separate stream on that. Now, we want to add the query for adding a watch list item. And that is going to be basically the same thing as creating a position. So we'll steal that. Text, empty. Add watch list item. This does not go into the package. It's a GraphQL file. Add watch list item. Watch list item. Right? Isn't that what we called it? Add symbol to watch list input. Add symbol to watch list input, $ input, and that's going to return ID and symbol. Okay, that should do the trick. Let's go ahead and regenerate our code. This is still running, right? Nope, it's not running. That's going to fail. Let's rebuild again here. This should trigger the, initialization. Okay, we're good there. All right, so now we should be able to do network.client.apollo.perform mutation. So this is going to be add watchlist item mutation input. That symbol is going to be the symbol that we got. Result in. And then we're going to do the same stuff here. Now, we can get a little bit into how caching works with GraphQL and Apollo, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But if I take a look at for example, the portfolio positions, the view model here, I want the view model. So here in the portfolio positions, we do something similar, right? We want to load all of them or remove them, right? And actually, it's not in here. New position. Is it add position? Yeah, create position view. The view model in here. Yep. So when we do this, we then our portfolio positions, we load, and then we load again. Right, okay. So basically the pattern is going to be here is after we add, we would then load again. There's some caching tricks that we can do. We won't do them yet. One way that we can do it is we can cheat a little bit. But we won't do that yet. Actually, yeah, we'll just load for now. So we're gonna kind of be like dumb in this case. So if this object is there, we're basically just gonna say to load, right? Again, this is not the best behavior, but for here, we'll do this. Unable to save watch list item. Capture weak self. Again, this is a little hacky, but just in the spirit of getting this working for everybody. And let's see how this goes. Okay. This was never used. We don't need it. Okay, so now in our case, right, if we add, it'll go into the loading state. If it finishes loading, it'll then call load, which then should give us the latest. Again, we're going to optimize this in the future. This is just kind of like the dumb loop that you can do. And now we have to wire this up, right? So when someone finishes, they add the security. Okay, we've already got that wired up, which is good. If someone retries, we want to do viewModel.load. If it's searching, yeah, I think we should be good then. All right, so let's go ahead and give this a shot. We're gonna run it on my phone. And let's take a look at what we can get here. I didn't think about that. We need another cord. We need another iPhone cord. Gotta have one here, right? Let's get another iPhone cord. All right, 1 second. We gotta get another iPhone cord here to plug in this phone. 1 second, we'll be right back. Okay, so we have our app up here. If we go to watch lists, what happens? We get nothing. Oh, we probably need to run the new app here. Should be 14.3. May rerun this. That might not be the right thing. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. All right, we're back up. All right. Watch list. Okay. There are our items. This screen is really bad for some reason, or the colors on this are terrible. This looks a lot nicer on the device. But now, let's go ahead and try and add another one. Let's add Square, Twilio, Iron Mountain, right? So this is all good. Now, you'll notice we can't remove items from the watch list. So let's go ahead and implement that. So let's go back to our mutations and let's remove. And we can reuse this. So let's just call this watch list inputs for now. Remove symbol. Remove. And we'll go ahead and add remove. And so in this case, we are going to, what's the Firestore? Delete. Okay. Actually, in this case, we probably shouldn't send it the symbol. We should have it send us the ID of that record. So let's not reuse watch list inputs. Let's remove, and let's have it pass us an ID. Remove that ID. And then we're going to get the document by its ID. String. And we'll delete. And then we will return, if it works, it's just fine like that. We'll just do that. Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be anything more to it than that. Yeah, that should be fine. Because it'll fail otherwise. We'll do remove symbol. Actually, we want to make sure that we get the right document. So yeah, what did I do down here? Reference portfolio document. Yeah, so I basically grab it first and then I delete it. Okay. Yep. All right. So in this case, right, so the weird thing is like the server-side Firestore doesn't actually respect the ACL rules. So you're kind of at your own mercy to ensure security. So in this case, we want to grab the item with the subject and the ID is the ID that they passed in, right? And then basically if there is an item, great. Otherwise, we'll throw an exception or basically do nothing. Which I don't remember what I did down here. Yeah, I throw an error, right? Portfolio not found. This needs to get cleaned up. Something fierce. We'll just duplicate this, but this is really bad. Item not found, unable to find watch list item, watch list item, ID. It's 2. Yeah, and again, this needs to get cleaned up. This is all duplicated to hell. Although there's only 2 of them, but like obviously I'm gonna have a lot more of these in the future. So we're gonna have to fix that up. So then back up here, if I don't find it, throw found. And then the item is gonna be the one that was passed in. Otherwise, we're gonna do we have to get it before we delete it? Nope. Dot reference. Query document snapshot, watchlist item, watchlist item. Oh, first dot. Maybe I can't do it this way. Yeah, I gotta delete the reference. That's what it is. Okay. Dot reference, dot delete, dot get. Okay. In seconds. All right. So we can remove now. Input.id. And there's nothing to return. What do we do? Oh, when we remove. Oh, that's interesting. So okay. We can do that later. So in the other position, in the other things, like when I'm managing lists, I always return the list after I delete it. I don't really care too much about that, so I'm just going to leave it that way. So we're just going to return, yeah, the item that was deleted. I even care about that? No, I probably don't even care about that. Let's just return a Boolean. For now, again, this is just in the spirit of get it working. Okay, so now I should be able to remove a position let's rerun this and test it locally, and then we should be able to wire up the last bit of this functionality. Remove symbol from watchlist. Remove symbol to watchlist. From watchlist. From watchlist. From watchlist. Okay. Rerun. Let's get our watch list just to make sure. All right, it's all there. Mutation, remove symbol from watch list, input, our ID that we want to remove. Let's remove Iron Mountain. Actually, that's a bug. We have to do duplicates right there. Unable to delete watchlist item. Watchlist item not found. Okay. So let's debug this, but this should be input.id. ID is that. Let's check this out. Let's run this query. Oh, portfolios, that's not what we want. Watch lists, that would be why. Okay. That's probably the issue. Watch list item should be 1. And we should see no errors. And if we query for our watch list, ID, symbol, no more IRM. Let's remove the other one just in case. But this should do the trick. And it's gone. Okay, so that's removal. So removal works. Now we can go ahead and add that, deploy it, and add this to our remove watch list item. All right, so that can go ahead and deploy. And now let's go back and look at removal. Okay, so we're just gonna use the built-in like swipe to delete. And the way that you do that, well, actually, yeah. So the way that you do that is on your watch list, or on our watch list, right? On the list, there is a function. I'm going to draw a blank on what it's called. But let's go ahead and look at our portfolio list view. It is on delete. So we can call basically on delete. It's not on list. It's on the for each. Right? List for each. Yeah, on delete. Yep. And then basically we have to give it a function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function down here. Func delete watch list item. This is basically an index set, I believe. So now we should be able to pass delete watch list item to here, and we should be good, right? Or actually, yeah, it's better named at offsets, right? Which really is what it's more at offset. In theory, it could be offsets, right? You can delete multiple, but we'll try and name it the way that iOS names it, right? All right, so now we want to delete watch list item. So here, this is where we can say, hey, viewModel dot delete item. So we need a new function to do that. This is going to take in, what did I take in my, yeah, we're going to need that. Yeah, we just did symbol. So this is going to take in an ID. And now let's talk a little bit about index sets, because this is, if you're not super familiar with iOS, this is going to be a little confusing. An index set basically represents positions in an array, or positions in like a sequence of items, and it can represent one or multiple. And so the way that you have to deal with this is a little interesting. So basically, you have to loop through it. And again, we only want to loop through it when we're in the success state, right? That would be a weird thing, right? So we are going to go through the offset. If the items are of type success, this is how we're actually going to get the item in the list, right? So this is the weird thing about this is that in order to find the item that we want to remove, we have to, loop through the offset. In this case, it's always going to be one, but there can be multiple. We're going to have to basically make sure that our view model state is success, grab the items, find that item, right, with the index that we got, right, which is this is our iteration, and then we can remove the item. So we can go back to remove, and now we need to add our removal, which is essentially going to look something like this. So we will add this here. We're going to do empty remove watch list item.graphql. Doesn't need to be in the targets. Mutation, remove watch list item, input $, and I always mess this up. Remove symbol from watch list item. Remove symbol from watch list. This is the object, and then we just want this piece, and this is going to be $input, right? Can't remember. It's this. It's the other way. So $input. I always get this off. $that. Yep. Yep, that looks good. Okay, let's go ahead and download our schema again and build. And this is still running, right? No, it's not running. Let's run the local server, because I have the schema generation pointed at the local server, not the GraphQL server. So we'll go ahead and build this. Build. Build failed. What doesn't it like? did you remove? Yeah, I did mean input. Thank you, GraphQL, or thank you, Apollo, for iOS, for telling me that. Variable. Okay, I got this goofed up. Input, $ input. Yep. This input is not nullable, so I have to manually mark that there. All right, so we can go back, undo this, and now we should have the ability to perform remove watchlist item mutation input, and the ID is the ID that's passed in. Weak self result in, and give ourselves some more room here. Okay, so again, when we remove something, I'm just going to reload. Again, we will optimize this later, but this should be just fine. Although there will be a little bit of a flicker, but that is okay. We will fix that in a later stream. We're just going to call our self.load, and there's going to be an error, unable to delete watch list item. And that state is going to be the same. Okay, so we should be able to add and remove now, which is essentially all I was kind of looking to knock out here real quick. Again, this is kind of just the quick and dirty of getting it up and running, and then there's a bunch of things we're going to have to fix and or optimize. So one, we want to make sure that this thing plays nicely with caching, which currently it definitely doesn't. The other thing we need to do is, right, when we add or delete, we don't necessarily need to make another load call. We need to update our Apollo cache, right? There's a bunch of little stuff. So if we go back to our watch list, right? So when you add that remove or that onDelete callback, you now can swipe on something. So if I let go, that will have deleted, and you'll see that it's now gone. So if I can delete all of these, right? And we'll be back to none. We go back, come back, right? It's there. So now, again, right, we have kind of the, you know, happy path CRUD ability here. And, you know, this works okay. There's certainly a lot of, you know, optimization and things that we can and we should do, which we will here very shortly in other streams, but this is working. So that's pretty cool. One thing that we could also fix here real quick is always returning things in a particular order, and then we might want to add the ability to change the sort order in the future. But we want to sort by we're gonna sort by the symbol. Actually, I haven't done, do we want sort or sorted by? It probably depends, right? Returns the elements of sequence sorted using a given predicate as the comparison between elements. So sorted returns the elements, and sort sorts the collection in place. Okay, so let's just take a look at this real quick here, because I want to make sure I'm using the nice fancy way. Yes. Okay, so we can say sorted, and then we can return $0 dot symbol is greater than $1 dot symbol. That should be good. Let's pull up our view again, go to our watch list. That's actually in reverse order because, yeah, we want less than, right? So this will just return it in a consistent order, and in the future, right, we'll probably want to add the ability to sort by different things, right? Symbol, you know, when we add the quote, like performance or value, right? So in this case, now when we add something, it'll always kind of come back in the right spot, right? We also need to deal with duplicates, so that's something we will want to do here in the future, but this looks pretty darn good. See if we can add a bunch more, right? So you know, again, right, quick and dirty here. I don't know why it shows up. The coloring is really washed out, right? Like this is like the nice iOS list style on the device, but you know, it looks like this over here. So it looks a lot better. So again, you know, basic watch list, CRUD operations, view models, GraphQL, the whole bunch here. And we'll stop now, but we'll do some more streams later on. We'll get into Apollo caching so that, hey, you know, so like let's go through this, right? There's a couple different things that we should not be doing. We don't need to call load after we add or remove things, right? We should just be able to adjust our internal list, right? From the way that it should be. What else? We only want to add the security if it's not already there. We could basically just prevent this here pretty simply by preventing you from adding one that's already there, which would be pretty straightforward. We'll probably want to enforce that both on the client and the server, though, right? There's no our API shouldn't allow an operation, you know, that you don't want to do. So, but yeah, that's about it. Nice long stream, but we covered a bunch. Any questions or any thoughts, right? I mean, this was just kind of quick and dirty, get this up and running. I think the next streams are really going to be about polishing this up. We'll go into hook up this bell icon, right? So get the notifications working. We'll try and look back at making the toolbar dynamic. I got to read up a little bit more about view builders and stuff like that. My knowledge there isn't great, so we will keep on going here.